Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be invited to yet another Strategic Human Resource Management Conference here in beautiful Runaway Bay, Jamaica, especially this year, 2019, that is dubbed under the theme Developing an Inspired Workplace through Innovative HR Practices. We are the HR professionals from LMNK HR consultation firm, and with me today are my esteemed colleagues, Libby Martinez, Marcellus Gaban, Kame Miller, and I am Neslin Cook Samuels. The objective of this presentation today is to give you a general overview of safety and health within the workplace. We'll talk about the importance of it and mention the key stakeholders. We'll talk about common safety and health issues organizations face and how they respond to these issues. We'll also make recommendations for safety and health best practices and what those outcomes are of the best practices. We'll also speak of the regulatory bodies of health and safety within the workplace and highlight a policy and show a few before and after pictures of health and safety risks within the organization. I will now turn over to the first speaker, Libby Martinez, who will give us an overview of health and safety in the workplace.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. The picture you see on the slide was taken in 1908, and it's of 16-year-old Harry McShane, who was pulled into a machinery in a factory in Cincinnati and had his arm ripped off at the shoulder and his leg broken without any compensation. The research and regulation of occupational safety and health are a relatively recent phenomenon. As labor movements arose in response to the worker concerns in the wake of the Industrial Revolution, workers' health entered consideration as a labor-related issue. In the United Kingdom, the Factory Acts of the early 19th century, from 1802 onwards, arose out of concerns about the poor health of children working in cotton mills. The Act of 1833 created a dedicated professional factory inspectorate. The initial remit of the inspectorate was to police restrictions on the working hours in the textile industry of children and young persons. Introduced to prevent chronic overwork, identified as leading directly to ill health and deformation and indirectly to high accident rate. However, on the urging of the Factory Inspectorate, a further act in 1844, giving similar restrictions on working hours for women in the textile industry, introduced a requirement for machinery guarding, but only in the textile industry and only in areas that might be accessed by women or children. In 1840, a royal commission published its findings on the state of conditions for the workers of the mining industry that documented the appalling dangerous environment that they had to work in and the high frequency of accidents. The commission sparked public outrage, which resulted in the Mines Act of 1842. The act set up an inspectorate for mines and collieries, which resulted in many prosecutions and safety improvements. And by 1850, inspectors were able to enter and inspect premises at their discretion. Otto von Bismarck inaugurated the first social insurance legislation in 1880 and the first workers' compensation law in 1884. The first of their kind in the Western world. Other acts followed in other countries, particularly in response to labor unrest. As defined by the World Health Organization, occupational health deals with all aspects of health and safety in the workplace and has a strong focus on primary prevention of hazards. The goals of occupational safety and health programs include to foster a safe and healthy work environment. OSH may also protect co-workers, family members, employers, customers, and many others who might be affected by the working environment. I will conclude my presentation this afternoon speaking on the importance of occupational safety health for companies. Occupational health and safety is about providing safety and health measures in different work environments and sectors. It is an area that is concerned with health, safety, as well as welfare of people engaged in an organization. Every kind of worker exposes individuals to a number of hazards. It might seem obvious, but management of health and safety in the workplace is very important because along with protecting employees, it also increases productivity when employees are healthy and happy. Occupational health and safety in companies is important for legal, economic, and moral reasons. Legal reasons for OSH is related to the compensatory, punitive, and preventative effects of laws that protect the safety and health of workers. OSH legislations require all organizations to ensure the safety, welfare, and health of employees and to conduct all work-relating activities in such a manner that they should not pose any harm to them. Secondly, economic. There are powerful reasons for decreasing work concerning accidents as well as ill health. In addition to decreasing costs, efficient safety and health management promotes the productivity of all business. Ill health and diseases related to work can result in many days' absence from work. Accidents can hinder normal operation and is a possible addition to the operating costs of a company. Additionally, the strain and stress on other employees can demotivate them and might lead to more mishaps. The medical expenses incurred by injured and ill workers in hospitals will be borne by the company. And finally, moral. It is moral right to safeguard a worker from any kind of harm. It is the duty of all companies to provide the best care for their employees. Friends and families would expect their loved ones who go out to make their livelihood to come home safe. The grief, pain, and suffering of people who have their health affected or are hurt while working for their companies are felt by workers as well as their family members. Our next presenter for today is Marcy Jaban, who will be speaking on essential stakeholders implementing safety and health programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Libby. I'll continue with one very important question many would ask. Who is involved with safety and health practice? There are many human resource management functions in an organization, but the success of a safety and health program involves the support and cooperation of managers, employees, and government regulators. It is best said by Brian 2019 that workplace safety is the obligation of everyone in an organization. But human resource experts and managers play a significant role in creating standards and making sure safety and health acts are followed. Let's begin with management. Before the firm management can activate and champion the cause of safety and health within an organization, there must be a work-hearted commitment by the management to create a culture of safety. This includes providing an adequate budget, manager personal support, acknowledgement, and communication about the topics and meaningful response to incidents. In order for management to have a good grip on health and safety practices, they must first be aware of the health and safety considerations and cooperate fully with specialists who can assist in reducing accidents and occupational illness. Next are employees, who also have rights and responsibilities in occupational safety, which is done through collaboration with the occupational health and safety corporate procedures. The employees are encouraged to follow the guidelines and instruction given by managers and to take care of their own safety and the safety of their coworkers. They must follow the employer's directions and regulation and report any dangerous situations to their supervisors. It is believed then that the more human resources are involved in committees and more likely for a successful health and safety program. Another important partner in safety and health programs are regulators. In some jurisdictions where laws exist, the government will have the responsibility to monitor and enforce safety and health practices. Let's take, for example, in the US, this is done by OSHA, and in Canada, it is done by Occupational Health and Safety Standards. Some jurisdictions may not have comprehensive laws, but more segmented laws to deal with safety and health in the workplace. Bottom line, clearly the success of any safety program rests primarily on how well employees, managers, and other stakeholders follow and comply with the safety rules and regulations. I'll continue discussing with safety and health issues. Increasing evidence has shown that there may be just as many safety and health hazards in a modern workplace as there were during the rise of the factory system. Some of these issues actually related somehow to the recent issues we face today. One thing for sure is that we cannot address all the safety and health issues facing managers in today's 21st century. So we have chosen some of the most interesting and persuasive to elaborate in more detail. They are stress management, workplace violence, work environment, and ergonomic problems, which are related to employees, organization, and the regulators. I'll begin with stress management, which is commonly defined as a person's physical and mental reaction to stressor or stimuli, or in the environment. Some common work-related factors consist of work schedule, job security, poor supervision, customers' demand, that then results in anxiety, depression, anger, and even cardiovascular disease. For example, a recent Danish study found that nurses working under excessive pressure had double the risk for heart attack, and job stress was the main contributing factor. Another issue is the workplace violence. This includes incidents by coworkers that are predictable and avoidable at times. A common cause is due to alcohol and substance abuse. Bullying is also a very high contributor to that. Work environment. More and more employees have expressed concern over the quality of their indoor office environment. Some of those common issues relates to their air quality, for example, dust, office infrastructure, heat leading to heat exhaustion. Others include poor lighting and even rodent infestation. Now we move to ergonomic problems. It is a repetitive motion of injury that includes disorders such as carpal tunnel syndrome and tendonitis. This is as a result of too many uninterpreted repetition of an activity of workers who do tasks on an assembly line or on a computer desk. OSHA has no specific standard for such ergonomic issues, but provides some very helpful recommendation. One example is where employees take 3 to 5 minutes breaks from working at their work computer stations for every 20 to 30 to 40 minutes, using their time for other tasks. One thing is clear though, these real issues in the workplace must be discussed, and they deserve the management's attention. I now pass you to Cami Miller, who will address some more issues.
Thank you, Marcy. So Marcy would have just looked at common safety and health issues. Now I will be looking at the organizational responses to health and safety issues, their best practices and their outcomes. Now, occupational health and safety was not widely enforced, and this was so because many organizations saw this as costly, but there were several ripple effects to this. One, you had a lot of employees who placed lawsuits on companies based on the injuries that they would have sustained from the job. Two, they had an increased attrition rate. And three, the productivity level decreased. So organizations decided that it would really be best to hire occupational safety and health officers to assist in creating awareness and also to ensure that policies are enforced. In some countries where the issue of occupational health and safety is very prevalent, especially in Jamaica, an association is formed. In Jamaica, the name of that association is Jamaica Occupational Health and Safety Professionals Association. Within this association, you can find a group of dedicated individuals who ensures that the health and safety policies within organizations are enforced and infrastructures are in place. So the question here is, what best practices can be applied to ensure that occupational health and safety is enforced within the organization. Now we're going to be looking at three important stakeholders: the employees, the organization, and the regulatory body or the regulators. Now the employees, they have two main roles. One, they should ensure that they actively commit or comply with the health and safety programs or policies that are put in place within the organization. So for example, if the organization has in place that based on the nature of the job, protective equipment or gears should be worn, then it is important that the employees comply with this policy. It is also important that the employees report any risk to their health and safety that is found within the organization. Two, we are going to be looking at the organization. The organization has a key role to play in ensuring that they create a clear and concise policy. So it's important that at the end of the day, when the policies are rolled out, that the employees, they fully understand the policy so that it's not misconstrued any at all. Two, it is important that they conduct periodic inspections and review to ensure that the employees are safe or they feel safe within their environment, and just to see if anything needs to be removed or changed or improved within an effective and efficient time frame. Now, another aspect to occupational health and safety is that a lot of persons tend to just view this from a physical standpoint, to say that there needs to be protective equipment or there need to be protective equipment within the organization. So it's a little bit more than that. It also looks at the emotional well-being and also the social well-being of the employee. And this we call work-life balance. So if it is that the employee is facing any form of emotional distress, then it is important that the organization provides some form of counseling or counseling facilities to take care of these needs for the employees. If the employee is at work, and whether it's a work-related issue or personal issue, but for whatever reason they are feeling stressed, then it is also important that the organization provides some form of means so that these employees can de-stress, whether it's providing a gym facility or other social activities for these employees. It's also important that the organization creates awareness for employees by introducing these policies from the onset. From the onset, this caters to orientation. So during orientation, these policies should be outlined, and throughout their tenure, it should also be enforced. Then there's a regulatory body that generally monitors and assesses the organization's compliance to these policies. Now, finally, what will happen if these best practices are followed or they're enforced? One, employees will be motivated. We know that definitely if the employees are motivated, then their productivity will increase. Retention rate will increase as well, staff morale will increase, and essentially there will be an accident-free workplace. I will turn over to our final presenter, who is Neslin Cook Samuels.
Thank you, Camille. So the previous speakers gave you evidence that shows that throughout the world, people have been affected by work-related incidents, which led to the formulation of regulatory bodies to focus on these issues. In this segment, we'll talk about the Occupational Safety and Health Administration Body. According to DIAS 2011, this body manages health and safety in the workplace. This was bred out of the US. However, globalization has brought these regulatory policies right here in the Caribbean and right across the world. Now, the central goal of OSHA is to guarantee safe and healthy working conditions for people by setting and enforcing standards. And this is done through training, outreach, education, and assisting organizations in ensuring that this is done properly. Now, there are some key elements that are necessary for any OSHA policy to be successful. First and foremost, organizations must create policies that meet and/or exceed the requirements of OSHA Series 18001 2007 standards. What this policy outlines is the organization's commitment to systematically control the occupational health and safety risks related to its business operations. And this is to prevent injury and ill health. It defines the intention of the company to at least comply with the OSHA legislation and other requirements and to continually improve its occupational health and safety performance. Now, key elements. One, awareness is one of the most important of all. If an employee is not aware, or if all the stakeholders are not aware of the policy, then there will be issues. Second element that is critical to the success of any policy is commitment. The employees must buy into the concept, buy into the policy. And third, there must be training and communication of any changes that may happen. Fourth, there must be compliance, meaning that it is every employee's responsibility to take their own safety into their hands. As Kameh mentioned before, if there are safety gears to be worn, that must be enforced and employees must understand that they must be compliant. Just the same, organizations must ensure that the policies are in place, and if there are hazards or risks that present themselves, that these are outlined and immediately removed. There must be constant review of the policy to ensure that it is still relevant and front and foremost in the minds of each employee. If there is an issue, an important element of the success of the organization is that they are reported. Now, the next slide shows you a real-life example of an OSHA policy for an OSHA policy. For the purpose of not disclosing the organization, we have blotted out their name, but pretty much the elements are very visible in the policy. It shows that employees or human capital are the greatest asset in the organization, and their well-being is important to the success of the organization. It shows that every employee is responsible. Simply put, each person plays a crucial role in maintaining health and safety in the organization. It shows that there must be a commitment and communication right across the organization. The next slide shows real-life examples again. This looks at hazards that could cause health and safety issues in the organization. Now, the picture that says before on the top right left-hand corner shows dumped scrap from a cafeteria that was left in the electrical room. The risk is fire. Now, the after picture shows where the scraps were cleared, and it shows that the space was more organized. Now, the picture on the bottom half of the page shows a glass door with no signs, and you were unable to recognize the hindrance. Now, this picture which is the after picture, shows that the glass was frosted, and this was done for visibility, and signage was also added. Now, in wrapping up, organizations have swiftly embraced occupational health and safety because it reaps far greater benefits. For example, increased productivity. It is clear to all of us that health and safety are real issues in the workplace that deserve attention of all involved. Thank you.